Rory, thank you so much for joining me in this conversation.
You're very welcome.
So, we're here to talk about your work on the movie Eternity, which I adored. Loved this movie. I had a chance to see it in Toronto at TIFF. Went to a press screening there.
You there?
Um, yeah, and then and I loved it so much. I told my husband we absolutely have to see it when it comes out, and so I wanted to get a second watch in before we had this conversation. And he also loved it. It was one of his favorite movies of the year. So,
Brilliant.
um, so yes.
Man of taste, obviously.
What's that?
He's a man of taste.
Yes, 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 he is. So we're going to talk about that, but I want to start by talking with about you in your career in cinematography and being director of photography.
Sure.
Let's start from the beginning and work your way up to getting to this movie.
Uh, I basically was a high school dropout. I completely flunked my exams. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I spent the summer in Germany. A friend of mine said, "Oh, do what I'm doing, study communications." And I was like, "What, like fixing broken phones?" No, you can make like radio shows and things. So I talked my way into a college course. And from there, I decided to become a screenwriter. And I kind of got into a film school. And in film school, I met this guy, James. And James was like, "You want to do that? You want to do this? Look what you can do with light." And he just sort of completely enthused me. And I became a DP. I mean, that literally kind of set my course. I think if I hadn't failed my exams and met these people along the way, I'd be doing something else. And then I got out of film school, and turns out nobody needed like a 22-year-old who'd shot 3 short films. So then you spend 10 years clawing your way through the mud and begging to shoot things for free and like working for pizza. Till eventually someone trusts you with a real job.
That's how the industry works sometimes.
Yeah.
But no, that's great that you've made your way. So becoming a part of the Eternity production. Tell me about getting involved with that.
Yeah, I shot a short film with David, the director, back in 2009 that I didn't see him for years. And he came back in 2019, or 10 years later, with this script for a film called Dating Amber. And I loved it. So we went off and did that. And we just had a really good time. I think we made a really great little film, which unfortunately sort of disappeared beneath the waves of COVID. I mean,
Mm.
20. Um, and then he just said, "Look, my next film, I want you to come and do it." And the next film was Eternity. And we became really good friends along the way. And he's great to work with. He's good fun. He's got great taste, great instincts. So it's a really fruitful uh, working relationship.
That's really cool. I want to ask more about that working relationship in a minute, because I think networking is such an important component of being a part of the filmmaking industry. And yeah, I want to get more of your thoughts on that. But so for those who, for whatever reason, don't know about Eternity, as you mentioned, it's it's a film by David. How do you pronounce his last name? Oh, I missed it. Say that again.
Frame rhymes with brain.
Frayne.
Yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, he directed, you DP'd, and it's a movie about a version of the afterlife where you get to permanently pick an eternity, but you only get one choice, and the main character Joan has to choose between spending eternity with the man that she built her entire life with, or the man that she first wanted to build her life with. It's such an interesting take on the love triangle dilemma, and I absolutely adore how this movie goes about telling the story. Um,
Yeah.
mhm,
Well, it's really interesting because you say it that it's Joan's story, but actually it's also Larry's story. I mean,
mhm,
initially when he dies, he goes to the afterlife, so it's his film for the first half, and it's her film for the second half.
mhm. Yeah, that's a really great way of putting it, because they both are in this struggle. She's trying to make this tough choice, but really the movie is a lot about how about him reconciling with like this relationship and regrets or what he can do better, how he can be a better person. And it's so interesting. So one thing that really struck me about this movie, and I think that most people will recognize, is that the set design is beautiful. Uh,
Yeah.
and I want to know more about filming it, being on set and filming in this environment.
Yeah, it's funny because there was a lot. awful lot of discussion and debate. It's a huge set. Um, and then, you design, you get the costs, and you're like, oh, we can't afford to build all the stuff we wanted. Like, we have an elevator, we have stairs, we have this, we have that. I mean, there's a whole lot of kind of, there was the initial design, and then there's the repurposed version, and then so there was a huge amount of work went into just preparing that with the designer. But then when you get there, it's really simple because it's kind of an open space. So we did a lot of work in prep, just working out where we're going to stage different things. This will be on a balcony, and that'll take us into the elevator and all that sort of stuff. By the time you hit the floor, a lot of decisions are made. So it
Mm.
kind of all flew past. Like we didn't spend that long on that set.
Well, that's unfortunate. I'm
Yeah,
sure you would have liked to have spent more time there.
yeah. But there's so much to do. Even though it takes up a lot of time on screen, I think we were only there for about a week.
Wow, really?
Maybe a bit more because we obviously have some stuff in that other bit where all the booths are. But the main kind of hotel junction bit, I think
Mhm.
maybe like 5 days. So,
Wow.
and you're working at speed under pressure. So there's kind of very little time to smell the roses.
Yeah, I mean, and that's such an interesting point about filmmaking. There's a lot of work that goes into this, and it's kind of fleeting. You have to do it, get it done, and then move on to the next thing.
Yeah, I mean, someone said to me once, they're like, "Well, I like to be a DP," and I had to say to them, the idea of being a DP, they sell to you like you're there painting sunsets, but the thing about it is, you're painting sunsets, but the paints are on a conveyor belt, and the conveyor belt's getting faster and faster. By the end of it, you're just doing that, trying to get a paint in the canvas. It's a bit like that, isn't it? So you go in with all these dreams and aspirations, and then when it comes to doing it, it can be, pretty fast and furious.
I'm sure it's a whirlwind, but the product is great. I'm curious what you shot on. What camera did you use to film this?
On the Alexa 35,
Oh,
uh,
nice.
just a modern new camera, but I'm kind of gratified. People have asked me, they're like, "So what's it like going back to shoot on film?" I'm like, "Oh, we fooled you. This is good," because we wanted, not that we wanted to specifically say we shot on film, but we wanted it to feel like an older film.
Mhm. Yeah, and it does. I mean, from the set design, the costume design, and of course how it's captured, it definitely gives that like older feeling. But and I think that it's interesting that that's really kind of one of the points of the eternities is to put you in different places and different spaces, and the lobby itself is kind of a character.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's your introduction to the afterlife. Really, is this space,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? Trashy, low rent. You you know,
The first room was nice. It was a nice room at first, but then you go to
yeah,
the basement after 7 days.
yeah. I mean, I think it's something you could explore again and again and again. It feels like it should be episodic TV because there's so much you can do with all that.
Oh my gosh, can you tell David to do that? If you guys could work on an Eternity limited series or miniseries or whatever, that would be incredible.
I have seen chatter online, people saying they would like an Eternity series with Divine and John Early. I,
Yes, yes. That spinoff would be so just exceptional. I would love to see them just infinitely. That's my eternity is watching them.
and you've got Death of the Week.
Right? That would be so great. It really would be.
Yeah,
Um, that's cool, but, and it's interesting you mentioned them because they bring this really interesting comedy to this movie, and it's fun. I think they're a really big component of why this movie is so fun and entertaining, but there's also a really interesting emotional component to this movie, and something I was thinking about, like, I don't know, I haven't really been on sets before, so I don't know how something looks on set versus how it looks in the final product. So with these like emotional components, these emotional beats to the movie, when you're filming it, do you feel that emotionality as you're filming? Like how is it on set compared to what you see on in film?
sometimes, uh, sometimes it's kind of really electric. Sometimes because you're doing little parts, you don't get the
Mhm.
whole picture. But that scene where Lizzie says, "I don't pick either man. I'm going to go off on my own." That's heartbreaking. We shot that and we broke for a few minutes, and I met Lizzie behind the stage, and I said to her, "I think you're the best actress I've ever worked with." I mean,
Yes.
she just absolutely is amazing. She's got an incredible ability to go into a scene, and it's comic and it's tragic and it's comic and it's tragic, and she's afraid and she's elated, and she can just do all those turns, and it feels really effortless. And
Mhm.
take after take.
Wow. No, I mean that really comes through. This whole cast is really great, but yeah, Elizabeth Olsen, she is just magnetic in this movie. I mean, it's such a because it is such an emotional type of movie, you need someone to be able to pull that off and to be able to go to, like, have that kind of performance.
Yeah, she's
Um
really funny. I mean, I think she's like Jack Lemmon in The Apartment or something. Uh,
Yes, that's right.
I don't know how much comedy she's ever done, but she absolutely has it. And they all do. Like I think Miles is really funny.
Mhm. Yeah, totally. The character he plays just kind of being this old man in a young man's body.
Yeah,
It's
and in fact, that's the thing that when we were shooting it, I didn't really pick up on that much
Oh, okay, huh.
because you're so focused on your bit and you go, "Oh, performances are great," but I kind of didn't really pick up on how much because it's quite subtle that bit on when they're doing it on set about them appearing like older people.
Mhm. Yeah.
Together. And that's a sign of great actors as well, that they know when it's cut together how well can it work, that they're not overdoing it or underplaying it.
That's true, and I think again, kind of going back to, with, the onset, experience versus the final product, the performances are exceptional, but also you have to capture this. Like, you have to get this on camera in the right way. I mean, is there a pressure involved with that? Like, how do you feel about that?
You know, you go in, you block it with the actors, you rehearse it, and you go, well, we'll do a shot from here, and we'll do a shot from there, and we might have a third shot from over here. And it becomes not mechanical, but you get a sense of you're just going, how do we express this story?
Mhm.
And it's quite a simple thing. You go, well, we want to, whatever, see the space,
Mhm. Totally.
are together, how distant they are, and we want to really be able to read this person's emotion. We get close for that. So once you know what you want to see in the scene, it becomes quite simple.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I said we come back around to your professional relationship with David, and I want to ask more about that with you guys and your collaboration. I'm curious what is it about your working relationship that makes you feel like most appreciated, or what is something that he does that makes you feel empowered as a cinematographer?
he's really open. Like I think all the best people are open and negotiable and up for bouncing ideas. So if you're a little kid and you're doing something, you go, let's do this, and somebody else goes, no, let's do that. That'll be even better. Let's make a sandcastle. Let's make a giant sandcastle. Let's put a motor on it. I think it's a bit like that. Um, and he's just very open. At one point, we were sitting there, and he said, "Ah, I need a funny line for this scene. Give me a funny line about X." And I was like, "What about blah 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 blah?" And he went, "Okay, good." And it's in the film. It's a tiny throwaway thing, but he's not precious. He just wants to make the best film he can. And if he thinks you're a good person, he'll just ask for your input. Um, and also, like all good people, he will know when to reject your input and go, "That's not where we're going." But it's
Mhm.
that thing about he he's just very open. You can say, "This isn't quite working. What if we do that instead?" Okay, you know.
Nice. Well, I asked that question because I think that that dynamic is really important between the director and a cinematographer. And so I asked that question to get more insight as to what you hope for from directors when you go into a project. What makes a working relationship with the director work best for you as a cinematographer? Or what advice would you give to directors to make that relationship as cohesive as possible?
It's funny. It's a bit like picking like a life partner or boyfriend or girlfriend. Whatever. It's like I think if you go in with a list of demands, you're probably not going to do very well. And every
Mm,
relationship you had, I guess, was special in its own way.
mhm,
So but the things that I find really interesting are, I like working with smart people. I like when I feel they're smarter than me because I want to learn from them. And that's not the same as being more experienced than me. They can be less
mhm,
experienced. Come with ideas and enthusiasm, or if they go, well, I'm doing this for this reason. You know, that to me is really exciting. Um, Obviously, good humor. I don't want to work with angry, nasty people. I walk away from that. But I just want to work with people who are like smart and fun.
mhm,
Um, they're the things that kind of are exciting to me. I I really love going to work. I love making pictures. I love collaborating. I like when you say to the director, "Why don't we do this?" And they go, "Yeah, but why don't we do it from the floor?" You go, "Why don't we dig a hole in the floor and get even deeper?" All that kind of stuff where you're kind of constantly adding to each other's ideas is really exciting.
totally. On this advice train, let's talk more about the cinematographer. For people who are maybe wanting to get into cinematography or being a DP for projects, people who are interested in that, what do you recommend? What do you think that they should know before jumping into this?
I would say the first thing is shoot everything. Just shoot, 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 shoot. If you've got a phone, you've got a camera. If you've got a camera, you can make a film.
Hmm.
Uh, like really, you don't need the latest anything. Um, like someone was asking about getting a camera recently, and I was saying just get a second-hand camera. Like it's fine.
Hmm.
No one really cares what it's shot on it. But if it's nicely shot, if the shots are just nice, simple shots that tell the story, that's all you need. Like the Coen Brothers films, a lot of their stuff is so simple. In fact, Eternity, a lot of the shots are incredibly simple.
Hmm.
It's just that thing about just tell stories, take pictures, and if you're serious about becoming a DP, find when people are starting out, find an editor, find a director, find a producer, and get together and just make stuff.
Yeah, I like that advice about, we have having a camera is so accessible now. We have them on our phones. You can make a movie, and just at least get that practice. Transparently speaking, I'm looking at doing my first short film project, and I'm telling you, my budget is probably less than one of your lenses. And so
But I'll tell you, one of the most exciting things I shot lately was a film directed by my 12-year-old niece.
oh, fun.
Today, she's like, "Let's make a film. You're a cameraman. You're going to help me." And I said, "Okay." She got my iPad. She's like, "We're going to do this." And we shot Red Riding Hood. We shot it in about an hour, but she was able to. She had a vision. She could communicate. She could collaborate, and it was brilliant. It was so much fun. Um,
Oh, that's awesome.
and then she turned to me afterwards and she went, "Can you edit?" And I was like, "A little bit. Edit my film for me." But yeah, really, it's like it's just doing it is the thing. Doing it and doing it
Yeah,
and doing it.
totally, totally. Um, well, I'll bring this to a close here in a moment. I really appreciate this conversation, and I'm looking forward to the rest of your career and following what you do from here. But I guess that's the last question I want to ask. Where do you hope to go from here? And I don't know, are there filmmakers that you hope to collaborate with at some point?
It's funny. Someone asked me that recently. I'm like, there's so many great filmmakers. Like, I sort of drew a blank, But I've seen like some really interesting films. I thought Richard Linklater's film was terrific. Nouveau Vague. There's so
Mm,
many great people. But for me, more than the director, it's the script that motivates me.
mm.
There's a very successful cameraman who had a huge movie in the 90s and he went off and worked with loads of big name directors and made a lot of their worst films. And
Oh no.
he banked on the fact they were great directors and maybe, let go of the fact the scripts weren't brilliant. So,
Mm,
I want to do great films. I want to work with really interesting people. Um, but, the script kind of has to drive all that as well.
yeah.
I don't really care if the budget's big or small. Like, I'd love to do short films. I'll do documentaries. I'll do music videos. Anything as long as I feel like I'm doing good work.
Oh, that's so interesting because your career does span quite a few types of entertainment, TV, short films, films. Like, yeah, it's really cool how much experience you have in different areas of entertainment.
Yeah, and I've been lucky. Like, I did documentaries all over the world.
Hmm.
Uh, I've been really lucky. I've tried all kinds of things, and I just still think like I just like having a camera. I like meeting people, getting out there and making stuff. Like I do think filmmaking is the closest you can get to being a kid and just playing with Lego.
That's a really great analogy. I think that's so true.
I think, if it's not fun, then you're maybe not doing it right. I mean, not that it doesn't get pressure at times, and it's not challenging, but at the heart of it, there should be a sense of fun in the whole thing.
Hmm. Absolutely. Well, Rory, I really appreciate your insight. Thank you so much for this talk, and again, congratulations on your work with Eternity. I cannot stop recommending that movie to people, and I'm really excited for more people to see it and for just for it to be out in the world now.
Very much. Oh, I would say if you haven't seen it, check out David's previous film, Dating Amber.
Dating Amber. All right, we have it on record.
Gay coming of age story. I'm so happy the film came out and I realized it's quite nice as like a straight person to be like a positive contribution in gay culture.
Oh, all right, okay.
David was like, I don't want to make an AIDS film or a being rejected by your family film. Like, there's more to being gay than being that. Made this film,
Thank you.
and it's very sweet. It's very funny. It probably make you cry. It made me cry, um, but I'm really proud of that film too. I think if you like Eternity, there's a certain kind of humorous, the tone of the humor are very similar.
David making movies that make people cry. All right.
Yeah, he goes every day at work.
I love it. Rory,
But
thank you so much. I appreciate this conversation, and I hope to talk with you again in the future. All right.
brilliant, all the best. Before you go,